Welcome to Overwatch, and welcome to another episode of Coaching the Many. Today, we're going to be looking at a hero that a lot of people enjoy playing, a lot of people enjoy playing a lot, which is D.Va. A very, very popular hero, very, very useful hero. She's versatile and useful in a number of picks. Let's get rid of that overlay there, that's quite nice. Okay, we've got a nice, long, juicy video from regular sub Swiss Bootio. As you can see, he's there, he's over 6 months. I think he's like a 10, 11-month sub. He's been around for a while. But yeah, we're going to be talking all about the divas. This is placement, but probably high gold. Sounds about right. So pretty average in terms of SR, around the midpoint. And so, like, let's talk about D.Va. Let's talk about strengths and weaknesses. Like, D.Va used to be basically a babysitter. Back when Defense Matrix ran off being like a 4-second long thing, she was basically a babysitter. She used to just hang around the supports most of the time, block, stop flankers getting in, try to slow down the dive, and then she would go and do things after blocking as much of the dive as possible. Now she's a lot more versatile. Now, because the Defense Matrix got nerfed and because the rockets came in to do extra damage, you can actually be a lot more aggressive with her and you can actually play around with her a lot more. She can still very much be integral in protecting supports, but she's also just very, very good at going and dealing with single threats, contesting high ground, also contesting from high ground, where you drop down and then you can rocket back up to high ground nice and safely. It's very, very common that you'll see her using these kinds of situations to go and sort of stall on payloads and stuff like that. It's very, very powerful. Otherwise, yeah, just keep an eye on team comp. I don't think it changes too much from this, so like starting out here, what I'll say already is like the Reaper pick scares me a lot on Route 66 first point. It's very, very good if they try and defend down in the tunnel. Like if they're going to try and do anything with the tunnel, the Reaper will work wonders. The issue that Reaper will have is if you think about how Route 66 sort of operates, you have like the route the payload takes is sort of shaped like this, like going around the corner, right? How about this road? And you have Big L's, which is sort of up here. Okay, like this is the main space that you're trying to contest most of the time. Right, you're trying to contest all this space, and Reaper trying to get up there, it's not easy. It's not easy for him to do it, and if the enemy team just stays up there, or stays on like the high ground that's over here as well, it's very, very hard for him to actually get to any of these places, and get into the ranges where he's quite strong. Very, very good on defense, because Winstons and Divas and stuff like to jump on the high ground, and you just stand up there and just blow them up whenever they jump up there, and then they can't contest it anymore. But on offense, skeptical. Nerf Das, yeah, I expect a lot of Nerf Das. If you haven't heard the German voices before, Nerf Das is incredible. Hey, steal your mind as well. Interruption indeed. 13 months. I'm gonna need to start like setting up the 24-month things instead of like the colors, the badges. Ice. Beglied. Oh god, I can't. Begliedet die Fracht. Right, so already we're kind of main tanking, like, so let's talk about like just the first couple of seconds even, because we've already fucked up in my eyes. It's not necessarily us fucking up, it's more the Reinhardt fucking up. The big issue is, what I want you to sort of pay attention to is we run out, and the first thing that we do is we throw Defense Matrix up and we catch some incoming spam. Great, absolutely fine, no problem with that. But I want you to watch how quickly the thing drains. There it is, and it's going down, we catch 1 or 2 shots. Now we're down to about half. That's about a second left. We start moving forward, and then we start taking a shitload of damage. Now, the issue here is that we're taking all this damage, but we're not actually blocking much more than we would be if we were working with the Reinhardt, while we're still taking damage ourselves. And what you can find in these instances is you can take a lot of damage very, very quickly if you aren't careful, and then just start losing straight away. So you don't, like, do always keep in mind that you are an off tank, not a main tank, and that the Reinhardt should be doing sort of the opening rollout. That lets you save this defense matrix for when you really need it. Now, luckily the enemy team is defending in a really stupid location. This is actually quite good for us, because you can do quite a lot of work here. What I do like to see is, considering where the enemies are positioned, we are using the payload appropriately, we're using it as cover, and then from this position we can very easily start shelling into the Orisa barrier, just start bringing that down. Honestly, I'd like it if we were just still tucked into the payload a little bit closer, and just use the Reinhardt and the payload as much as possible, buy a little bit of time for that. This is a bit daft, and we get punished for it. Like, honestly, once the Orisa's dead, there is no need to actually go this aggressive at this point when we're playing the D.Va. If the Reinhardt starts pushing forward more aggressively, then sure, that's great, but this is just a little bit over aggro. And like, if you consider the team comp you guys are running, you guys want to just fight and brawl on the payload. Like, you got the McCree, you got Reaper, you got Reinhardt. This isn't really a super high intensity engage comp. This is a we'll just roll into you and roll over you sort of comp, which is kind of what you guys ended up doing. Once you start playing more towards a dive style, that's when it starts sort of slowing down, the wheels start falling off a little bit. It's not the biggest deal in the world because they just get us, but it's just one of those things to be careful of. Like, if you are going to try and do this sort of run ahead of the team straight into the middle of the enemy team, you are going to die pretty quickly, no matter what happens. Because you've just used your... It's like... It's no different in my mind than playing Wizard and just jumping straight into the enemy team. And just, like, then just dying. It's kind of exactly the same thing. That's a very fast Junkrat ult, but we shouldn't be surprised by that.
What's this guy? What the fuck?
Very, very salty people. If you couldn't tell, it's on EU. So, salt is expected. Is the purple that? Yeah, the purple and red YouTube encoding doesn't like.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
I like the fact that he's surprised by this outcome. I think this says like so much about this person, where it's like you are stood out towards the enemy team on your own. Yeah, they just ran up and killed you. Who could have seen this? Who could have seen this coming? At this point, yeah, just like when you see the Orisa barriers this low, just smash it down. Then we have sound barrier. Yep, engage hard. Just keep shooting, keep shooting, keep shooting, keep plugging. Good. 2 kills is what you needed. Let's find that Junkrat. Good. The point here isn't to necessarily go and kill the Junkrat, so like the fight's already kind of won, bearing some kind of freak accident. Bearing, like, they do some really big plays, like Zarya gets a grab in, and then Junkrat just kills everyone. There's very, very few ways. Now that we've got booped away, and because they're calling out, like, Junkrat's behind or Junkrat high ground, like, okay, let's just go and shut this Junkrat down. The point isn't even necessarily to kill the Junkrat, it's just to slow him down, to make sure he can't do anything, let your DPS take their time, get the kills that they need, and then just win from that point onwards. So you're not even looking to necessarily kill the Junkrat, though it certainly could help, but even just slowing him down, especially when the team's sort of around, don't be afraid to just pin him in the defense matrix and then sort of kill him.
Guys, can you protect the healers?
I love this guy so much. I love this. Welcome to Overwatch, ladies and gentlemen, where people.
Fuck you guys, can you protect the healers?
Can you protect the healers? The thing that you just got to remind this friend at this point is, hey friend, we've just taken the point. Everything's a-okay. He'll respawn just next to everyone. A couple of seconds time. By the time these gates have opened, he's already back. He's already in the fight. There's no need to be angry. There's no need to be too mad. This is honestly more the enemy team just... It's like their positioning is bad, but it's working out because the game is such a clusterfuck. One thing I will say is, like, I see that we've responded to, like, this guy's frustration, and I think that's why we've ended up in this position here, where we're just stood on this high ground, and we're just stood out in the middle of the open. Notice how useless we feel in this position, so this is just something I want to highlight. This is just something that I want to point out and mention is, hey, doesn't it feel like shit when we're just stood at, like, out in this position? Right? Doesn't this feel really, really bad? Doesn't this feel terrible, being here as D.Va? We can't do anything, we can't block anything, so yeah, like, be very careful about ending out just in the open, out in the middle of nowhere, away from anything, because you're going to have to then use your boost just to get to anywhere that you need to be, and then you won't, then, you know, the soldier's just going to run away. Like, he's not going to give a shit. If he was good, he's probably just going to try and duel you and just die, but, you know, you can't count on that. If he was good, he could just run away and just sort of go to the high ground over here, for example. And he'd be a-okay. Protecting the healers is something that we can do. So if this does continue to be a problem, like if you do notice that during these pushes, the healers are getting focused down a huge amount, like they have Tracer and McCree always in the backline, do not be afraid to change your tactic, to change your play, and just stay more towards the healers that you have. So it's Ana Lucio, so it's like staying with them is always a bit tricky, but staying with the Ana more than anything, and then just blocking whatever's coming in for them. At this point, you shouldn't be trying to do too much here. The reason why is they've just used an ultimate to stop you pushing through this choke point. Honestly, this choke point isn't that important. We should just be waiting. Big thing here, actually, we've used up a lot of defense matrix as well. Like, we want to be careful with using this defense matrix and sort of managing our matrix. Like, once this ult comes through, our mentality has to change. Okay, once this bomb is through, we are not pushing anymore because we've just lost our main tank and one of our main pushing supports. Like, we cannot push. So what you're looking to do at this point is more just look for picks, look for ways to just make their lives difficult, look for the occasional cheeky kill. And so like using up all our defense matrix, blocking here, and even moving in front of the payload here, like this movement forward when we do it now, I really dislike. Moving around here is fine. But what would have been nice is if we had defense matrix, and this is sort of what I want to mention, is because we've tried to do all this weird tanky stuff over here, we don't have any defense matrix when we need it, so then Reaper can't commit to this push. Like, ideally we would have enough matrix just to shield the Reaper, let him come in and let him get the kill. We're just there to enable the Reaper to do his job. We're not necessarily there just to help him get the kills. This is a bold bomb. Ends up working out just because Reinhardt comes back in time. This could have come out a second or two later when you guys are just pushing proper, but I like the bomb. You throw it behind the Orisa. They have no good choices. Orisa has to drop the bomb there. Your team can just move forward, scoop up a couple of kills. Nice and easy. So this dash is one thing I really want to highlight, which is we should have cancelled this dash way sooner. This is like the equivalent of what I call like a Winston blind jump. You're right in going up and contesting this high ground. You're wrong rocketing past this moment. And I'd say that this is the mistake. So yeah, just, you know, this is where the mistake creeps in my mind. When we start going this far forward. Contesting high ground as D.Va, there's a number of different ways of doing it. Like, there's a number of different important ideas. The first one is that you can just boot people off. So ideally, what would happen is if the Zarya would run this way, you would just boop and knock her off, and so she would lose the high ground position. That would be great. The next is you just find a one-on-one and kill. The second you see that there's more than one person up here, this is like an, whoa, okay, this is bad. And then when we spot that there's a third person up here, you notice that we just get shredded. When you're playing around walls, like this position here, and you can just sort of poke in and out, this is very strong. Especially when you have an Ana on your team, just poking around here and just being annoying is actually really threatening for their team. Because they won't be able to run forward and dislodge you, and even if they try, Ana should just be able to fire healing darts into you nice and safely, and you can always just drop down and pick up a health pack if you need it. So this is a very strong position up here. Once you start committing and going into this sort of open area, that's when we're going to have issues. And so this sort of logic applies to Winston as well, where if you're occupying positions around corners and around walls, you are much stronger. So just be very careful when you're engaging towards high grounds and you don't quite know what's up there. Just be a little bit more careful. And like I'd say that's the big lesson you take away from this death is like we weren't careful, we weren't anticipating what the enemy team could have had, and so we end up overextending and just dying. Your team actually manages to get quite a lot still. Like, the enemy team doesn't contest the payload, so they do manage to get quite far. Again, this is where mentality changes, right? This is, you know, one of the people that, one of the questions that I get asked quite a lot is what is the difference between higher ranks and lower ranks? And the thing that I always bring up is that in higher ranks, and especially in pro level games, like pros think in terms of the fight. They're very solid, very clearly defined fights. You fight, you lose, you regroup, you fight again. Whereas in low ranks, you get situations like this, where it's like, there's no fight, like, there's no big fight anymore. Let's say that, just for the sake of argument, that McCree and D.Va both push in. Like, what's going to happen? They're just going to die, right? And, like, it's very obvious when you just point it out like this. But the amount of times you'll see in, especially, like, bronze, silver, gold, and then even plat and pushing into diamonds sometimes, the amount of times you'll see stuff like this where people are just running in and just sort of even just staying in these areas where they can't really stay anymore. Like, this is not safe. This is not a safe position.
Fuck my life.
It's bad. Basically. Now, the thing that sort of works out nicely for us is that this Junkrat just goes nuts and just tries to, like, 1v5 or something. The enemy team doesn't retake position quickly. Especially when we start pushing forward here, like, we don't want to fight here. We don't actually want to fight this. We don't want to be taking this battle. And the only reason why this is even half working is because the enemy team isn't killing us fast enough. This is nice. I just like the fact that we... Like, honestly, that's all you need to do. Is drift up, boop soldier off, and just cancel here. And you can even stay up here and just shoot down. And then when you see that the Zarya is there, you just drop back down to your team. Like, this is, when I said that there's ways of contesting high ground, that's one of the strongest ways of doing it. Now your team's actually regrouped and it's superb, it's great. You could have done the same thing here.
Wow, what is this shit?
Just knocking this guy off. Like, just knock him down. Just fly up and knock him off. So that he can't stay up here. He can't stay on the high ground, he has to fight on the low ground with everyone else.
High ground.
With the Nano Rhine. Now that we're out of mech, yeah, we got to sort of bide our time. Our aim could use a little bit of work, just to say the least.
McCree's behind high ground.
Now, this feels like we're shooting with a controller, friend. Just relax. It is important to be able to land shots as Baby D.Va, because if you can do it, then you can get mechs back very quickly and very easily. You see, it's like, was that a Genji? Like, why is he even there? Oh no, it was the Reaper. Like, the Reaper shouldn't be there, and the Zarya shouldn't be dying to that. The Zarya should just be able to back up, heal up, and be fine. Junkrat's on the high ground. You can go and try and deal with that as best you can.
Behind.
This is where... Like, there is an Ana behind us in theory. She should be healing us. Like, Ana, please. Ana. Because what we want to do is go up here, yeah, and we want to just go and deal with this. Like, we want to be up here and contesting this and make sure that the Junkrat can't just set up here. Because if he can, no one else is going to be able to deal with that. Luckily, the Junkrat dropped down for some fucking reason that I don't understand. The Junkrat should have just stayed up here and he would have been doing so much work. Pick single target, isolate it.
Nice.
Junkrat's causing problems. Just go and cause problems for him. Like, this is where D.Va excels. D.Va wins most 1v1s. I say most because she will lose against a few different heroes. That was an Earth Shatter. So just shell the Zarya. Wow, she moved. I'm guessing that's a Lucio boop or something. She got launched. Maybe it was just the Reinhardt swing. But Zaryas you can kill very quickly as well. Just put the crosshair in the middle of the body and just shoot. Gold Annas don't believe in healing, yeah. This is a team comp, by the way, that you can very easily just shell into. Like, if you see a Risa just dump a barrier down, just put some damage into it. What I do like is the fact that we spot the Junkrat doing damage up here, so we just go up and deal with him. Again, just contest high ground. We don't even have to do anything more here. Honestly, you could just back away. You don't have to do anything fancy past that point. You've kind of already done what you needed to do. Anything you can do extra is just sort of just extra. So don't worry too much about it, because he's just going to back up towards his team and heal up. So this bomb is bold. It worked earlier, but this time it just launched a bit too far and they just all stepped through the barrier. What I would say is that this would work better. I like the fact that we were trapped, but we got pushed forward by the payload. Oh, you could have just killed him. Good way of finishing people off if they get super low like this, especially at this point. Just rocket into him. Like the damage from just crashing into him and then maybe a melee if you need it to finish would be nice.
Stream baby less than 3.
Less than 3 indeed. Thank you, Freedom. Appreciate it, man. That's it. Just blow that up. Nice. Honestly, we're just looking to sort of get as much ground as possible. Just shell the Orisa down. And honestly, like, I would say that damage mitigating here is a mistake. Because what are you blocking for? Like, she's not going to run out of bullets. It works out because Reinhardt goes nuts and just drops an Earth Shatter, but honestly, that's still a waste of an Earth Shatter. Because the fight's over. And this is, again, where I'm seeing, like, the idea of the fight is sort of the big issue that I'm seeing. Over and over and over again. This is sort of just, in general, happens at this level regardless, but the fact that, okay, it's going well, it's going well, it's going well. Mercy activates Valkyrie, that's a big problem. Chasing her around isn't that useful, but whatever, we're making use of our time. And then you see this. And this big block of red here is your signal that, hey, the fight isn't going well. Right? Like, this is not a good position for us. And then Mercy even just gets a res off, and it's like, okay, now it's just us two, and him dropping the Earth Shatter there is just... And at this point, you should be trying to die. You should honestly just be trying to die. There we go. Because the fight is already over. And the fight was over for a good 10-15 seconds there before we seemed to realize that, hey, the fight was over. And it's a very, very important idea. So if you are playing at this sort of level, like I do want to suggest sort of enshrining it into your heads, just keep in mind that if you see the kill feed lighting up in a certain color, it's usually a good sign to basically just sort of go, okay, time to maybe consider regrouping. And then just like, just look at the kill feed, look at the color. You don't even have to like read the kill feed, just look at the color. And then if it's like all red, check very quickly, like flick your eyes up, check and see like, is it reses? Is it like D.Va demeching, stuff like that? Like, is it actually kills or is it other stuff? If it's kills, okay. Time to just change my mentality, build up as much ult charge as I can, get back to my team as quickly as possible, whether that's through the spawn or whether that's through something else. Like, just try and get into that mindset of reset and re-engage.
No shield.
So Ryan's lost his barrier, so we should be taking our time here. This is good. This is actually quite nice. We fudge up a little bit. So one thing I want to highlight is, one thing we seem to be having issue with is cancelling our rockets. So this Junkrat's just committed suicide, and we do, like, it's good on us to spot this, okay? But we should have stopped here. Because what we've done now is we've basically taken Junkrat, so if you consider the terrain, you basically like got a thing here, there's a pathway up that way, thing here. Right, so these are walls. Okay? And so we have just gone like this. And now we are here. And so we're effectively body blocking for this against this Junkrat. This Junkrat is now sort of trapped in this area, and he's very unhappy. He doesn't want to be here anymore. What ends up happening is we actually end up going through him, so after the first contact, we just push straight through him, and now he's not body blocked. And so now if he wants to retreat, well, his retreat pathway is straight back to his team. It still goes across our team, but it's not as good as this position. So just get used to cancelling the rocket manually, and just don't be afraid to cancel early as well. Like, don't overthink it. Don't think, oh, I have to get the boop damage. I have to get it. It's kind of irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. It's like 20 damage that you could just do by holding left mouse button for a split second longer. Not optimal, but at this point, just being in a better position will make more of a difference than that 20 damage, whatever be. This was good. My only criticism here is you should have pressed Q, in my mind. The reason why is it means that a couple of things happen. A, the fight's actually going okay still, like the fight is still ongoing. You've managed to block off a big ultimate, and you're stalling this McCree from doing anything. So you're doing your job. If you drop the bomb here, this Mercy will have to run, the McCree will have to run, so he won't be here to fight you. He, you know, if he tries to go for this flash fan, he will die. So that's fine. Mercy will probably just pick him up, which is annoying, but hey, Mercy might die if he tries to stay there. And then you will be back in this fight. Like, you will be back and you'll be engaging still. And that makes a huge difference in the in sort of the long term of these fights. Now, luckily, your team still manages to win. Like, we should be keeping our eye on a kill feed, seeing what's happening. But hey, team manages to pull through. But that could have gone the other way, right? And the times it goes the other way, you'll be kicking yourself because you could still be involved in that fight. It's the last fight. The fight's not gone away. You've not completely lost it. It's okay. It's all right. So yeah, feel free to just, you know, especially in these sort of big clutch engagements, don't be afraid to just bomb just to get your mech back. Okay. Interesting choice. This was Vogue for a little while, and then sort of very quickly dropped out of fashion. I'll be interested to see what comes of this May, if they even stick on it. I didn't watch the second half. I did notice in the second half there was mention of cheese, but hey. Hopefully that last person picks a Mercy. This is where you're just looking at it, and welcome to the current meta where you're just looking at it going, please pick Mercy. We just want Mercy. Mercy, Mercy, Mercy. Moira. Anna Moira. The worst defensive combo of ultimates by far. Okay, guys. Why is Anna Moira bad? There we go, Lucio. He's not the best Anna in the world. He's telling the truth. Anna Lucio's a bit better, at least. Anna Moira, the reason why Anna Moira is so bad is you have no big defensive ultimate, so if they just use that, like, let's say that they just run even just Dragon Blade, like, you can't stop it. You can't just stop them killing people. Just catch a little bit of spam. At this point, do not try and catch much more. Like, this is sort of a minor thing, but this is what I've discovered on my own as D.Va. Just experimenting around, playing around with defense matrix. Is it's okay to catch like the first salvo or two, but you gotta remember, like, it takes a good sort of 4 or 5 seconds for all this shit to come back. And you want to have the full 2 seconds. Like, having 1 second is not great for defense matrix. So, be very, very careful in these early salvos, because you've just used all of our defense matrix. And for what? Saving 300 of Reinhardt's barrier? It's not the big deal. Like, you could save that and have that more available elsewhere. We should absolutely be the one peeling to deal with this. Luckily, hey, headshot lands from Lucio. Like, this is where you want defense matrix, right? Like, that was just a good example of where defense matrix was good, because we just saved this Lucio. Blocked for him a little bit. Oh, we found a trap. Feels bad. Feels bad. And so, judging from what I've seen so far, the Junkrat should be our highest priority. He's very, very liberal in terms of how he tries to position, which leaves him vulnerable. So we should be looking to get on this Junkrat as much as possible. That McCree is isolated though, so yeah. Like, when you spot these isolated characters, like, you see how easy that is? Now we just play it safe. Like, there's no need to actually stay out here being super aggressive. Don't be afraid to also press X and ask for healing because you have an Ana. Unfortunately, she's just died. Luckily, the enemy team isn't paying attention for you, but after moments like this, so where we go in and deal with this, don't be afraid to just sort of bide your time a little bit and then just rocket back to your team, get healed up again, and then come back in once again. Because you've sort of already had a success here, and then if they demech you, well, you've just traded, effectively. We don't have to make this a trade, we can sort of bide our time, and what we're doing here is very, very ineffective unless we're shooting at the Roadhog. Now that we start shooting the Roadhog, hey, it starts working. But it's already too little too late.
Nice in that fucking town.
I think to mention might be health pack placements in this situation too. I'm not actually sure that, like, judging from where the McCree is, there's no good health packs for us. So in this instance where we come through here,
no, I switched. I cannot.
Like, no matter what, we're kind of stuck. So in this instance, what I would say is just back off from the edge a little bit, wait the 2 seconds out, and then rocket down to your team. Like, just go down the slope, to be honest. Because otherwise, if you're going for the large health pack here, large health pack here, both instances you're going past Roadhog, Reaper, and that's not great. So that you just fly up and over, and then just go to your team that way. It is risky-ish if the Roadhog hooks you, but yeah. Now that we have a bomb, now we can just do what the fuck we like. Because we can do this. It's already too late though, because the team's already dead. Because hey, the Junkrat taking liberties.
In that fucking town.
I'll ult and then pick junk. Oh, okay.
So you notice that the team is, you know, Junkrat's imbalanced, yada yada yada.
Junk up, ult.
Annoying. The key thing here is just to make sure your team doesn't die as much as possible. Okay, you got to kill, just back off, back off, back off. Like, and I'd even say, like, I was happy for like 2 seconds there, and then I was very unhappy. Because we're moving back, and we're moving back towards where cover is, and then we sort of step back into the middle of the road. Why are we in the middle of the road? Our main tank's just died. Sure, Zarya's here to help out a little bit, but I don't like being out here. I don't feel safe. You know where I'd be happy? I'd be happy if we were over here. Okay, let's not use yellow. I'd be happy if we were over here. Over here feels good. Over here feels good. Here feels really fucking bad, because they have a Roadhog. And Zarya's about to learn, I think. Oh, look. But this is because, again, there's been, like, no shift in that mentality. Now, Reinhardt gets extremely lucky there. Just run this guy over. Good. But there was no shift in mentality. So this is sort of just repeating the point of, like, hey, you guys are still kind of in trouble here, right? You've lost Reinhardt, and you're on defense. So enemy team has a big mobile piece of cover that is healing them. We get the Junkrat. Okay, fair enough. After you get the Junkrat, that's when you slow down. Like, you want to slow this down, because that means that basically they're burning time, they can't do much, and you're letting your team get time to get picks and stuff like that. They are still relatively tanky, and they're still going to try grinding forward, but honestly, like, this space here, like, until the payload gets past this point, basically free for the enemy team anyway. So fighting over this space isn't that important. Like, no one really gives a shit about down here. So you don't really have to care about sort of this entire area. Let's just shade that in properly. You don't have to care about this entire area because it's basically free regardless. When it starts getting towards the bridge, that's when you start caring, and you can contest that by just, you know, staying around these corners and using line of sight and then rocketing away if they ever get close to you. Rather than just being stuck out in the open. Remember what I was talking about earlier when we stood on top of Big L's and, like, doesn't this feel like shit? Well, doesn't this feel like shit when we're literally stood here? Like, the amount of damage we're actually doing if we don't have rockets available is 0. Luckily we get launched over there, Reinhardt's Earth Shatter, which sort of works out for us. But doesn't this feel really shitty? You notice that we're losing this fight, and then Reinhardt gets the fucking Earth Shatter of the Sentry, comes in with Nano Boost and cleans everything up. When you see someone that low, just rocket into them. Again, need to be better about cancelling our rockets in the right position.
Nice.
Just kill him. Nice. Nice. Go.
Hera picking Bastion.
You can honestly go and just get rid of him at this point. Your team's already winning, you got Lucio there in support, you got Zarya there. Don't be afraid at this point to just go in and clean this guy up. It's kind of like you're one of the best people to do it. Leaving him there is just leaving your team, like the Lucio is probably going to die in like 2 seconds to a hook. And now it's a little bit too late because now they're starting to reinforce. So yeah, I think this is just like recognizing...
Right up behind.
Wow. I like the fact that the Junkrat was surprised. If someone died, like, it's very, very likely the Ana could have died to this. So easy for her to just get picked up and, like, scooped up by that. If you're playing Junkrat, do not use Concussive Mine on someone who is sleeping. Let's see what we were going for with the Nerf DAS, and either way, like, launching it and putting it behind the team, or just putting it on the payload, I think was fine here. The reason why this is a good bomb in terms of what it's intended to do. Like, this is a bomb with intention behind it, because Coalescence has gone off. Hey, they're using Coalescence, they are trying to push. We can stop the push, they can heal all they like, they can't stop D.Va Bomb from just killing everyone. So I'm fine with that bomb. Reaper even commits Death Blossom, that's great for us. They can't do anything. Nerf DAS. I enjoy Nerf DAS too much. Nerf DAS!
We can do this.
Well, the Ana's changed her tune from what she was earlier. Oh my god, guys, what the fuck? Protect the healers. Like, yeah, this is a free Junkrat for us. And honestly, I don't think we need to back off from this. That was Discord on the recording, by the way. So I'm just going to mute it for sanity's sake at this point. The best thing to do here would honestly just be to hold Defense Matrix on him for a second or two. The thing with, especially at this level, Junkrats will just panic and throw bombs at you, and like literally throw the concussive mines. Once the conk mines are done, he's not actually that threatening. You will kill Junkrat. And like, I mentioned this yesterday when we were talking about Tracer and hitboxes, but Junkrat's hitbox is actually pretty big. And the thing with Junkrat's hitbox is it's actually very, very stocky as well. I'm just trying to shade in like the area where Junkrat will actually take damage. Okay? He's actually quite big and stocky, and this works out really nicely for us, because if you think about our damage, it's just like a big circle. And so it will cover most of his body, and you will kill him in about a second. Second and a half. So think about in terms of time to kill, TTK, a very, very important concept. In terms of time to kill, who will kill who faster in this situation? The D.Va or the Junkrat? The D.Va. You've got rockets. You have chain guns. He will probably blow his cooldowns into your right click. You just kill him. He's isolated, you've cut him off from support. So I don't understand why we're so timid about this. Like, where's the fear coming from? Where we can probably still kill him.
Fuck, sorry.
And because we don't kill him, he gets a Riptire off and kills our Lucio.
Device from behind, high ground.
We need to deal with that Junkrat. Like, we have to deal with that Junkrat. The team is swapped to full projectile, so this is now scary. We're just stalling now. Play for time, play for time, play for time.
We die now, you play what you want here, but can you pick some? So it would be best for our team.
I have no idea what that guy just said. Not a clue.
Oh, the Genji's hunting me. Okay, I will repick.
Should I stall?
Taking Junkrat.
A very good question. Okay, go.
I'm not playing.
Honestly, yeah, you were right by waiting. I think waiting was the correct decision. So what you should do in these instances is, like, look at these timers. This is sort of one of the nice changes in Overwatch is adding these. So look at these timers. This guy's still respawning, this guy's still respawning, this guy's still respawning. Don't be afraid to wait at this corner when you're coming out and turn around and look behind you and just see if one or two people are there, who's coming, who's on the way. Because there's nothing worse, in my mind, than stalling when no one else can follow up. With, like, there's nothing that can follow up the stall. So you would just go out and then you would just die. If you went out right now, you would die. And that Genji sort of saves us from a bad decision. Now that Zarya's here, now we can go out and we can stall for actually a little while longer. Get bomb, drop bomb. They all hide behind the payload. Zarya fires the weirdest graviton surge in the world. That was a grav. Oh well. Happens. Whatever. Zarya whiffed. They got the point. Feels bad, man.
Soldier, tell me when your ults... We must combine.
We must combine. I like the patience here. I like the fact that we are being patient. One thing we could do, like, just as a use of our time, instead of just being here and burning all our defense matrix, is going up and scouting out the left flank. Judging by how the Junkrat's been playing, so quite often when they're pushing like this, one player will usually split off and come through this way. So you want to be a little bit careful about this path, like this doorway up here. So don't be afraid to sort of use D.Va to just to hop up and peek through this doorway, keep an eye on it, and then when you start seeing the payload coming around the corner, that's when we drop back and get back to our team. It's sort of the one thing we could be doing, which is a bit more of a productive use of our time. Actually, in D.Va or Moira orbs, that's good. That's what we should be doing. Oh god, the German Dragon Blade noise is so funny. I'm gonna max volume this. Brace yourselves. KOK! How will this sound in half speed? KOK! Germans. Nerf Das. I love Nerf Das too much. Too funny. So it sounds weird, but like we should still be thinking about the like a lot of our focus should be on like we should parcel it out, right? There's a lot to process, there's a lot in front of us, so let's just pass it down, right? The threats that we are concerned about, well, Pharah does a lot of damage, but we can only really block so much Pharah stuff. The Junkrat is being the big threat so far and has been doing a lot of work for their team. And then we should be scooping up Moira orbs with just, you know, tapping right click and eating up a Moira orb, no problem, right? Like, all of that is going to be very, very strong for us. So we should just be keeping that in mind and just keeping that priority in mind. And so what could we have done to address these goals, to address these mini objectives during this fight? Well, once the fight actually begins, which is about, I'd say this is the point where the fight has really begun. We've transitioned from poking to actual fighting when the Genji draws his Dragon Blade. Well, we can see that the Junkrat's up here. We can identify the high ground as a threat, so we can actually go up there and just go and deal with that. We could try and peel back and try and kill the Genji, but I think that's a bit of a waste of time. So going up and just going to contest the high ground, push the Junkrat off so the Junkrat can't do much would be great. And then just going from there and just developing it from there. Because what we sort of end up doing is we just sort of end up stood in the middle trying to block a little bit of damage here and there, but that's not really using D.Va to the fullest effect, right? You notice that we don't have any defense matrix after a long time. We're sort of playing D.Va in the old style where we need to be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more single target oriented, and a little bit more versatile in our positioning.
Oh my god! Para from right, high ground.
So, very good way of dealing with Pharah's doing this. So we spot where she is. First thing to do, fly at her and fire your rockets. Fire the missiles. Because she'll take splash damage from her own rockets, she'll take damage from yours, and she'll die very quickly. We didn't have defense matrix left, so you just go for it. What about the Junkrat? We seem to be indecisive in our target choice. Like, as long as we pick a target and do something about it. Like, this is the big issue I'm noticing, is we don't seem to be picking targets and just engaging on it. Like, we could engage on the Junkrat here, then the Pharah just sort of lands in front of us, takes a shitload of damage. Okay, we swap target. But notice once we commit to taking out the target, notice how effective that feels. Okay, we got the Kaioken ×4, it's not doing anything. No launching Vegeta to the moon this time, or what was left of the moon, I suppose. Yeah. Once you see this, you know that the fight's kind of gone your way. Because don't do as cool as it sounds, as cool as you think it is, it's not good. This is a waste of a nano boost, effectively. So yeah, don't be afraid of this. And then once that connects, it's just, yeah. Remember what I was saying about in goal, people don't know to transition from fights to just waiting? Like, at this point, you guys should be aggressive now. You guys have a huge advantage, and the Reinhardt should honestly not be backing away, he should be pushing forward at this point. You guys have more people alive, they have lost all of their supports, it's just Junkrat and D.Va. And as far as I can tell, it's Reinhardt, D.Va, Junkrat, and then Anna somewhere I think is behind us, healing us. Like, it's 4 versus 2. Why is there backing away happening? Why are we scared of this? Like, we don't even need, like, Soldier goes, takes high ground and does it anyway. Good, good. I am so happy that we went and did that. I am so happy. I am unbelievably pleased the fact that we fucking did that. It's risky because of the distance we have to cover, but we go and get the kill and we back off. Notice how easy that is, and notice that, watch the timer, watch the time tick down. Like, those guys should not have been here. It's not safe for them to be here, so we just punish them for it. Like, what can they do now? Now they're back into poking, now they have to just stay around corners and hide. Just eat that orb, good. That's all we have to do. Now we'll just recharge your defense matrix. We're wasting it quite a lot here, so one thing that I'd say, just, this is something that I'm learning as well on D.Va. Something I very specifically try and think about whenever I run out of defense matrix. Whenever you run out of defense matrix, just don't be afraid. Like, let me put it this way: if you're playing Reinhardt, right, and your barrier goes down, what you'll do is you'll back off and you'll let your barrier regenerate to about 1,000, maybe 1,500. But you'll back off and you'll just let it regenerate, and you won't sort of bring it up when it's on 200 and try and block things still. You let it regenerate because you know that it's not going to be any use if it's on like 100 hit points, right? D.Va's kind of exactly the same. Exactly the same logic applies. You've hit rock bottom on your defense matrix. Okay, back off, let it regenerate, because otherwise what ends up happening is you end up just constantly in this situation where you get to about here, and then we've lost it all again. And we've lost it all again. And it never feels like you have any defense matrix. I'm not even interested in watching the fight. It looks like Soldiers just won it anyway, but just the defense matrix. We've never gone over this red bar. Like, eating the orb, fair enough. Just let it build, let it build, let it build. If you hold down right mouse button at this point, I'm gonna go fucking nuts. Okay, good. Oh my god! Oh my god. Okay, where is it? Yes. There you go. Wait, this actually might not be time for the sad violin. No, he's in front of the barrier, fuck it, it's his own fault. No, fuck it. I thought the Reinhardt somehow got knocked up and it hit the Junkrat underneath him, but no, Junkrat was in front of the barrier, he fucking deserved that. Tracer manages to stall. Honestly, just clean up. You guys have won this. As long as nothing stupid happens. Something stupid is happening, isn't it? I can feel it in my bones. We don't respect the bomb. Wait. See, I need a soundboard or something. Please tell me that this just is...
How could this happen?
There we go. That's just exactly... That's literally exactly what I wanted. How could this happen? How has this occurred? Mercy's even ulted here. The Mercy's just promptly died. And then, okay, so we don't respect this enough. Like, when you see a bomb going in like this, where you can't really identify it, like, I mean, this is fucking useless, right? Do not be afraid to just rocket away to somewhere that you think is probably going to be safe, right? It's more important that you just survive than you stall the payload for like another 10 seconds, well, not even 10 seconds, like 2 seconds, okay? Just rocket off, go around the back of this pillar, you'll be fine. You're A-okay going over there. You should respect stuff like this, because we could still be stalling at this point. You know, we could still be alive and still be doing a shitload of stuff on the point. Just show a little bit of respect. Umkämpft. I think, did you just absorb a bomb as well? I'm not crazy, right? I saw a frame... Oh, for God's sake, I thought that YouTube is really shit at going backwards. Right, forward. Come on, YouTube. Come on, YouTube player. There was a bomb. I'm sure of it. Even though you hear it explode. Come on, YouTube. Oh, for fuck's sake, YouTube player. You know what? I'm doing this in a stupid way. Wait, what? There it is. For a split second. There and gone. Amazing. And you still hear it explode. For some reason.
Kill that tracer if you can.
I think one of the big issues that your team's running into at this point is that everyone's still thinking in stall mode and not in actual fight mode. Like, this has turned into a fight. And people are still trying to just, like, think in terms of, oh, we've got to just try and stall the point. Oh. Well, we got a game. There's a tracer? Yeah, there's a tracer. Yeah, I do think that a lot of that was on us. Like, and the D.Va bomb that we threw out to try and stall, in general, like, I'd say it's still a bad decision, right? And it's easy to be... It's easy to be very, sort of, you know, oh, in hindsight, it's 2020. In general, those kind of bombs don't stop the stuff that is going to get on the payload regardless. So stuff like Winston's, tracers usually can get onto the point regardless of where you put that bomb. They will just blink onto it, jump onto it, touch it, trigger overtime, and then the stall will continue. So in my experience, those kind of bombs where you, in like the last 10 seconds you just lob your own at the enemy team as they approach the point, don't usually work very well. What's usually a lot stronger is once they're on the point and trying to contest it, you just drop a bomb on top of the point or somewhere where it covers, like, you know, 3 sides of it, and then you'll get a lot of work done. Then you generally get a lot more value. So it's a little bit showboaty, a little bit too overconfident, and generally not a good idea, and, you know, don't do it, is basically what I'll say. After that, just respect their D.Va bombs a little bit more, because we could have had 300 hit points and been alive. And we can survive for quite a while, if we need to. Altered die Fracht auf. That, translated literally, is that, like, halt the freight away. Halt the freight off. Oh, baby.
I have no chunk.
Oh, this is an interesting Team comp.
Genji
What?
is going for me.
What?
D.Va.
I am so confused by their team comp. Okay, now they have a Bastion. Now it makes sense.
Bastion.
Genji's behind us.
I was just like, what? The team comp for a while there was Widow, Genji, and then the double barriers. Hey, she got you. Back in? Okay. You guys seem to just be doing okay, though. Like, it was stupid of them to... Okay, there's a Moira on, around the point. Clear that off. Good. Focus on the shit that's on the point. Just put damage onto it. Okay, that should be that done. No. What? What is happening in this game? Now it should be... No, Genji's back. Oh, Jesus. Okay, thank God. I was worried that we'd have another instance.
This wasn't good.
If they started with the Bastion, you guys would have been in so much trouble. The fact that they went Bastion Widow for like the first 10 seconds and then had to try and run Bastion onto the payload was just stupid.
Guys, I love you! Happy New Year!
It just let Reinhardt stand on the point. Like, you let your Reinhardt just run onto the point and start swinging at people, which he shouldn't have been able to. He wouldn't be able to do that if there was a Bastion there, let me put it that way. Okay. I did notice in the email, so I just want to point out on my other screen now, I have this. And it's distracting me so much. In the email, it did say that they have trouble with cheese comps. Like, cheese comps in general cause trouble on every rank at this point. Like, everyone has trouble with cheese comps. If you're playing D.Va into it, just try and build up a bomb as best as you can, and then just drop it on the Bastion, force him off the point. It's probably still not going to be enough, but you can generally get a lot. Like, it creates an opening for someone to do something. Try and coordinate with your team, build up a number of ultimates, put the D.Va bomb onto the payload, on top of where the Bastion is, literally park it on him if you have to, and then just try and get onto him and just cause problems for him. Defense matrix, anyone trying to make a play, like a Tracer or a Genji, and go from there. And it's very, very difficult to deal with. Like, everyone kind of struggles with it. I like the aggression here. Again, spotting an isolated target and then just doing a shitload of damage to it. The fact that we didn't use missiles hurts me. Like, we would have killed her in this instance, probably. Maybe not. Maybe got her super low. Maybe Genji would have been able to follow up and finish her. But yeah, don't be afraid to, like, missile. We luck out ever so slightly there. The moment we notice the Bastion, our behavior is wrong. We're just running at him. Why are we just running at a Bastion? You have 2 seconds of defense matrix. Luckily, the Bastion gets greedy and Genji just kills him. But yeah, you get super greedy there. Just stay behind the payload and just shoot into the Orisa barrier. If the Orisa barrier if the Orisa barrier goes down, it's then super easy for your team to just follow up and kill the Bastion. And you can tear that thing down in no time at all. Bastion's not going to kill the payload. He's not going to remove the payload. So you can just stay behind it forever. And you can shoot the Orisa barrier better than he can shoot you. Hey, again, don't be afraid to just fly. Yeah, good. That's it, find cover now. Just find cover, find cover, find cover. Like, we're not finding cover enough. I know you're a great big fat mech.
Far is always destroy every fan.
Should I pick Widow then?
Also, yeah, mono support is... Like, Ana alone is not going to cut this. Why is Farah destroying every van? Do we consider the Orisa? Ooh. If you're going to make a swap like that, commit to it, because D.Va bomb would have made a big old difference there. How close were we to it? We were fucking miles. Actually, we might not have been, because of how the UI works for D.Va. It's impossible to tell. Once you have made a decision, commit to it. The biggest issue here is we're just not using the payload. The payload is mobile cover. It's like the one thing in Overwatch that there pretty much is none of elsewhere. You just stay behind the payload and, hey, No problem.
No, no.
I know someone said Orisa counter in chat. In this case, it's just push the payload through it. Basically. Like, you just stay behind the payload and shoot into the Orisa barrier. The Orisa barrier dies before the payload does, let me put it that way. So yeah, that should work better. So, biggest thing. Knowing when fights end, sort of knowing how to read battles is like... That's the most generally useful piece of advice I can give you, is that idea of changing, like... knowing how to read when the battle is winding down and ending, and then changing your playstyle to adapt to that. Whether you have a disadvantage or an advantage. If you have a disadvantage, your goal is to try and survive or die as fast as you can, get back to the team, respawn, and come back in. If you have an advantage, try and punish anyone that's trying to stay too long, trying to be greedy, get a couple of 1 or 2 quick kills. Just don't go crazy and try and push all the way to spawn. But if, you know, if they're stood out in the open, you just put damage on them. Don't be afraid to use your superior numbers, push in a little bit, get a kill, and then just back off. That's fine, because it just stalls them for that little bit longer, gives your team more and more and more and more advantage. Beyond that, the big thing was just stopping our boosters, so getting used to stopping a little bit sooner than we were. We generally went through things when we want to just be pushing them back and then stopping in front of them. That's a much, much stronger positioning. We would just end up like rocketing into the open spaces where we were just going to be like a big pink blob in the middle of the fight, and everyone just shoots at us and kills us. That's kind of to be expected, right? So we want to be a bit more careful about doing that. Though I'd say those are the big 2 things that we should be focusing on. D.Va bombs shaking in 1 or 2 places, but in general seem to be okay-ish. We should be using, like, we seem to not use our rockets enough. We just seem to hold on to them constantly. Don't be afraid to spam them away, because they're pretty... Like, they're on low cooldown, they're just there to help you kill stuff. You can fire them with defense matrix up, use them a little bit more. There's not too much I could say about that, so yeah. Right, now is the time to start asking questions, so I'll be taking questions from the chat. And while I load up Overwatch. It'd be pretty quick actually, because I was playing it earlier. Questions about D.Va, Route 66, hair care? I don't care. Okay. Options, sound, because D.Va is very noisy. 0. Hiragari. Where are you, D.Va? There she is. Also, if you're typing D.Va, and you aren't a sub, don't put the dot on D.Va. I'll say that now, because otherwise... Also, if you're typing a comment on YouTube, don't put the dot on D.Va, because it will make you get picked up by the spam filter. Right. There she is. Okay, questions. Let's go. Let's do them. Do you think D.Va needs a nerf, considering she has more burst than most DPS, could pick her support class easier than some of them, and also mitigate damage for herself and her team with 600 freaking health? I hear Stir complain about her all the time. I just wanted your opinion. No. Is what I would say. Yeah, I'm pretty happy saying no at this point. The reason why I don't want to see D.Va nerfed, and I see the argument, and it could have merit, but what I would like to see first, like, the worst thing, okay, right now, in terms of shit that is broken in Overwatch, right? We have Mercy. #1 bullshit thing in Overwatch. She is complete and utter fucking ridiculousness. Junkrat is #2. I know I'm doing these things backwards, but whatever. And then after that, like, if you go in and you nerf Mercy, you nerf Junkrat, and you nerf D.Va, and then, you know, let's say for sake of argument, you nerf Soldier as well, and you nerf all these things at the same time, the game just completely goes into fucking chaos. As everyone tries to figure out, okay, well, what works, what doesn't. And right now, like, Arita Hog is, like, one of the more stable tank comps. D.Va's seeing less use, and it's because, like, part of the reason why she can do what she does, you know, just diving to the backline, and then just, well, not even the backline, just finding an isolated target, diving onto it, matrixing up any of its cooldowns, and then just blowing it up with a shitload of damage, is because D.Va can very often be in that situation, the team turns around and just shoots her, because D.Va is a very, very big model that is very, very easy to hit and very easy to kill if you use her rocket boost and doesn't have it available. So that's sort of the trade-off there. You know, to me, the argument of, oh, she does more burst than most DPS, well, so does Roadhog. So does Reinhardt. If he charges something and it connects, it does more burst, technically. Like, the argument doesn't really hold merit to me that she does more burst, because most tanks do a lot of burst damage. It seems to be part of their kit is generally high burst. The only tank I'd say that has really stable damage output would be Orisa and Zarya. Like, they have very, very stable, and Winston, of course, Winston. Have very, very stable damage outputs, but a lot of tanks have this burst option. And the way that works is usually if a target is isolated, then sure, D.Va's going to pick it off, and that's what D.Va is good at doing. She's good at reacting to these flexible threats that are coming in from odd angles. And she's better at doing that than most other tanks. Winston can do it, D.Va can do it. It's kind of their job. And if you nerf D.Va's ability to do that, if you nerf D.Va's ability to 1v1 people and just take them down, you'll see Soldier 76 is going on more flanks, you'll see McCree's going on more flanks, you'll see people taking up high ground positions. Junkrat would actually be a much, much stronger threat because he could just go to high ground and be safe there if he could fight the D.Va one-on-one. She needs that part of her kit. She needs that aggressive hunter-killer aspect to her kit, and that's sort of what makes it work. So I wouldn't look into nerfing D.Va at this point. No, I don't think so. D.Va versus Reaper is one of the harder matchups. Reaper should win it. The reason why is simply a matter of hitboxes. The way that you beat Reaper is weird, but it's going to sound strange, but it's how you beat him. So, D.Va's hitbox, say for sake of argument, is this. Reaper's hitbox is more like this. Tracer's hitbox is like this. Okay? So if the Reaper and the D.Va stay at sort of, I'm going to say medium range, but medium range isn't accurate. Like, we're talking between 1 to 10 meters. If they stay at like 6, 7 meters, it's in the Reaper's favor, because all of Reaper's pellets will be landing on the D.Va, and then the Reaper will just be sort of meat shotting. The D.Va will be landing a lot fewer shots. The big thing for the Reaper is to try and strip away the armor on the D.Va as fast as possible. So the way I generally do the Reaper versus D.Va fight is I'll move in, I'll fire 2 big meat shots, and then I'll back away after the armor is stripped away, because I want that armor gone as much as possible, because the damage drop-off has a much, much sort of greater impact when you're dealing with armor as well, because you're getting further halved. Once she's lost that armor, you just step back a little bit, and then you either will try and run around her in a circle, just to confuse her aim a little bit, but good D.Vas will just turn around, put the crosshair on your head and kill you, or you just back off a little bit and just keep firing meat shots. The hardest thing for the Reaper is just dodge the rockets, and then if you defense matrices, just stop firing. Don't reload, just stop firing. Because she can't, like, either it runs out and you kill her, or she just lowers it anyway, you just kill her. It's pretty simple, right? Thank you, Feldhus. Feldhus. How can Donald, but in general it favors the Reaper. Like, as D.Va, what I'd say is if you're engaging Reapers, don't. Reaper should be winning that matchup. When I say, like I said earlier on, she wins most 1v1s. The 1v1 that I was really thinking of was the D.Va versus Reaper, which is more in favor of the Reaper. You either shell it in with rockets from a distance and then finish him off when he's low and doesn't have Wraith form, or you just hope that you put your crosshair on him better than he puts it on you at close range, which is difficult. How can Donald Trump realistically claim that he is very smart? So how can he claim it? He can claim it by just opening his mouth and claiming it. The reasoning behind his claim, I do believe, is that he thinks that he's taken, like, I think he's taken IQ tests in the past, and they've given him very high results. Whether those IQ tests are verifiable or not, and the legitimacy of IQ tests is something that's debated quite a lot, but he's using that as evidence to support that he is very smart. He also has technically won the presidency, which you would think would be difficult to do if you're an idiot. I think there is a low cunning to Donald Trump, where he knows how to appeal to a very specific set of voters and how to get them voting, how to get them enthusiastic, and that's more important in modern politics than a lot of other things. So policy doesn't really matter too much. It's more about appealing to a very specific but large demographic, getting them mobilized, getting them out and voting, and once you achieve that, then that's how you get to be the president. And I think Donald Trump knows how to do that. He knows how to sort of bluster in a way that people find attractive. So that's sort of how he can. There you go. There's an answer to a question that you probably weren't expecting me to answer. So what does OneAmongstMany think about the nerfs? Good, bad, about halfway for one or too far another? No, I'm in favor. I want to see how they go. So what I think is the Mercy Valkyrie change. I'm in favor of it. I think the Valkyrie is Like, you either... I'm honestly surprised they got rid of the reses instead of changing the survivability. I would have still liked to see the survivability change come in, where you make Mercy more vulnerable during Valkyrie. But removing the instantaneous reses, I honestly kind of prefer. I'm not sorry to see that aspect of the game go. So yesterday, if you remember, I was playing in a game where it was one of the games of the Salty Frenchman. And during the fight, Mercy activated Valkyrie, I activated Tactical Visor, and by the time I had finished my Tac Visor animation, Mercy had already rezzed 2 people. Like, she just instantaneously, like, flew in, res. And there was nothing I could do about it. There was no counterplay, nothing that I could realistically be done about that situation. And I think I died pretty much straight away afterwards. So yeah, it was like, what do we do? So seeing that go, I'm not sorry on seeing. If Mercy will be underpowered after this one, I don't know. I think she'll still be pretty good. She's basically still a support that you can't kill. Valkyrie is still a really fucking good ultimate. It's just overshadowed by the power of the Resurrect. But being able to heal your entire team reliably and being highly mobile and pretty much unkillable during it is really good for a really long time. It's still 15 seconds rather than 20. That's still very powerful. I think you don't also have the meteoric speed that you used to, and you sort of flutter around in moth form. You should still be pretty hard to kill though. So yeah, I think Mercy will still be okay. So we'll see. With Junkrat, I'm very happy to see the change, and I think it's long overdue. Like, giving him 2 mines and giving him very, very, very reliable ways to deal over 200 damage was a big mistake. And I'm glad to see that being changed. When is the end of the stream? In about 2 hours' time. This isn't a question, but I just wanted to let people know that using D.Va ult solid to get another mech is a good idea if you don't know how to get consistent kills. Yes. Basically, D.Va ults can be used the same way that Primal Rage has, so if you have D.Va ult up, do not be afraid to just play more aggressively. The worst thing you can do with it is when you just end up in the middle of a team, you fire it, and then they just kill you, and then run and hide. So don't just dive into the middle of a team, but you can be a bit more reckless when you're one-on-one engagements. Don't be afraid to just activate it. There was a good example during the video where the McCree did a Deadeye on high ground, de-mech'd us, and then we didn't use D.Va Bomb. We should have just D.Va Bombed on our way out, and then just got back into a new mech, and we could have continued the fight. So that would have been good. Why don't people use high ground flanking path on the last route of 66 more often? So there's kind of 2 in my head. I imagine you mean the truck. Honestly, I don't know. I think it's just because more... Like, the fight is already usually won or lost, and pushing as a big unit works a lot better in a lot of cases, so yeah. I think you were referring to the truck, so like the final point of Route 66, you have the truck. It's sort of the high ground area, and there's like a thing here as well. And then you have like the high ground over here as well, which a lot of people forget about, which leads to some stairs over on this side. Like a pillar here with a health pack. And then like the final point is like here. This route is just hard to get onto. And generally, like, if you're trying to come around here, you're just weakening your push in the main, so they'll just push through main and just clear you out. In general, I would say just stick with your team is part of it. But don't be afraid to, especially if you have like an Ana and you have a nano visor or something, going up to the truck and just nano visoring from there can be very powerful. It's just be clever, basically. Same as yesterday, who are D.Va's biggest enemies? Reaper, definitely up there, I would say. Beyond that, Zarya, very high risk, like very difficult to deal with. Roadhog is a pain in the ass. You can cuck the Roadhog pretty reliably by just defense matrixing anything he hooks, but if he starts hooking you, you have problems. So he can cause a lot of issues for you. He basically will punish you. If you try and dive into their backline, he can just punish you for it. So you want to be very, very careful about that. Beyond that, yeah, I'd say that's probably covers like the main ones. In general, the counters to those, Roadhog, just be wary of the hook, so just play around the hook, be clever with the hook. And if he has hook available, don't go on backline dives, or go on backline dives that he can't hook you easily with. If they have a Zarya, just be very careful about feeding her charge. If she is on high charge, do not be afraid to just fucking kill her. So if she puts the barrier up, just shred it down, because you can shred it down very quickly. And then you can kill Zarya very, very fast as well. Because like we mentioned yesterday, she has a big hitbox, so if you are in close range with Zarya, you can kill her pretty quickly. You'd be surprised how fast you can tear her down. Defense Matrix is a broken ability no matter what. Yeah, Defense Matrix is really fucking good. Junkrat is the #1 bullshit in low ranks. Yep, doesn't surprise me. Does D.Va's ult combo with any other ults as well? For when to use an ult. So D.Va ult combos with a number of ults. In general, like the best one in my mind is Ice Shadow, but no one plays Reinhardt anymore. To me, when Reinhardt is meta and you run Reinhardt D.Va, the funniest thing, like if this is your team here, right, and this actually let's change these colors up. So if this is your team here, right, your team is nice and safe. This is the Reinhardt barrier, and the enemy team's here, and they're all over here. Right, fuck these guys. So what you do is you lob the D.Va bomb over, and then their Reinhardt has to turn around, and then your Reinhardt just outshadows them all. Like that combo is hilarious to me, because it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. In general, the best uses of D.Va bomb is to either, there's a couple of different things, you either use it to cover a push, so if you are pushing into the enemy team, you launch D.Va bomb forward, and then say like a Genji will dash in as well, and you use the cover of the D.Va bomb to get your dive into position effectively. You can also use it to sort of force people to position out of places. Another good use is when they're running Pharmacy. What you do is you wait for a Mercy to use Guardian Angel somewhere, like say Pharah is high in the air and Mercy uses Guardian Angel. If you launch the bomb at the Mercy, she won't be able to avoid it. Especially if Pharah like rockets up and then Mercy rockets up. If you launch a bomb at them into a position where you obviously just into open air that they are kind of occupying, they will not be able to escape it. It's a very, very good way of killing both of them. Or you'll generally get one of them. Other good uses for D.Va bomb is just to remech. Do not be afraid to use it just to get back into your mech. Clearing the point for a second or two as well. Like, do not overthink D.Va bombs. Do not think that, oh, I'm going to get a 6k because I'm really good with D.Va bombs. That will stop being reliable past a certain point. It happens a lot in low ranks where D.Va bombs just get launched over and just explode people. The reason why that happens is people just don't respect them enough. If you see a D.Va bomb coming in, just find some cover, find somewhere that you think you're safe, hide, you should be okay. If you just think, oh, well, I can just stay here and I don't think it's going to land there, it inevitably lands right in front of you. There's also one final D.Va bomb that is extremely effective. Which is, if you, I think the positioning, if I know it right, I could be slightly wrong here, it might be worth testing this in a custom game. Temple of Anubis. I'll draw it up here, just nice and small. Okay, so you got the pillars, you got a wall here, and then like this is the point. Got a bridge, pillar, box, and then you got like the stands up here, right? Temple of Anubis. If you launch the bomb from here and aim it between the stands, it will go up and over and it will just catch the edge and then drop down just on where the enemy team usually is standing. That bomb will kill people pretty fucking reliably. Worth testing in a custom game just to get the positioning absolutely right, because if you launch it and it just stays on the high ground, you feel like a complete fucking idiot. But that bomb is actually ridiculously effective. There are a couple of really good ones as well. I know Smex went and learned them. I think there are YouTube videos and tutorials for them. There's like one on Dorado that you can do on second point, where you know that sort of the high ground area, you've got the courthouse sort of here, and you've got like the two pathways into it. What inevitably happens if you try and launch a bomb up here is people run to the courthouse. So what you can do is you can position it so the bomb lands here. Most people run to this side of it and they'll just all die. So the bomb will like literally just land, and then by the time it lands here, it just explodes and kills everyone. It's pretty fucking good. There are videos to learn that. If you want to be a D.Va main, I recommend going and looking for those and finding them. Play around in a custom game, just set alt recharge to, you know, instant, and just lob bombs and learn them. Super bad at throwing D.Va bombs. Hey! Is it just dropping it for zoning, remeching alone going to hurt me more than... just remech. Like, don't be afraid to do it. The big thing, one big thing if you are really bad at it, whatever you do, if you're launching a D.Va bomb, do not just do this and then like press Q here on your ascension, and the bomb just goes up, and then when it comes down, it will detonate like here. What you want to do instead is you just want to rocket forward, or you just move in like a snake for a second or two and then launch it up, because then it launches lower, and then by the time it comes back down, it'll be more ground level. The issue with like the airburst D.Va bomb, so you press Q pretty much at the start of your ascent, is it will detonate so high in the air that most people on the ground will actually be okay. If it comes down for landing, it's actually a lot more dangerous. So you want it, like, just by the nature of how fucking circles work, right? If you have a point up here and a line, welcome to Mathematics 101. We draw a circle around this and draw a boob. It's a bit of a squiffy boob, bad surgery, clearly. you know, the area where this is contacting is relatively low, right? Well, if we draw the boob closer to the ground, then suddenly the point of contact is much, much bigger. And I know I've drawn a bigger circle here, but you get the fucking idea, right? You have all of this extra terrain as the circle comes down. And of course, the point where it's maximum is when the thing is on the floor and you have basically the fucking diameter of the circle. Right? Mathematics. It's fucking useful. Who knew? Very simple. What do you think of the Mercy and Junkrat changes? I personally don't like the Junkrat change. I think the Overwatch Central video is really good. Just increases uncertainty again. A rather flat 80 damage, 2 meter radius, trap 120. Nerf is ult charge and maybe reduce the tire speed a bit. What do you think? I think nerfing his ult charge would help. Honestly, I might expect the ult still to get nerfed after this. I'm actually okay with the change. Because I think it's just really bullshit to give a character like I know it's increasing his uncertainty, but there has to be an element of uncertainty with Junkrat, and to me the skill with Junkrat is knowing how to zone and know that people are going to go, well, with Hanzo, you say the uncertainty is a problem. The thing with Junkrat is that when he puts a pill in an area, when he puts a bomb in an area, it stays there for a while and just sort of bounces around. Those bombs last a long fucking time. Junkrat is about sort of zone denial, area denial, creating space, clearing space out. So, yeah, like that's just part of his kit. That's part of how he functions. The issue with Hanzo is he just fires like an arrow, then an arrow, and then an arrow. Well, Junkrat, bomb, 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 and you end up having like 3 bombs just bouncing around in an area, and then they all detonate. Well, one of them detonates, and then another one detonates, and people die. We're giving him just these fucking bullshit, you know, huge damage, 120 bullshit mines was just ridiculous. Good Junkrats will still be able to get a lot out of them, and like I think the min damage on them is like 60 still. So yeah. And I understand, because I think, I haven't watched the video, but I think Overwatch Central did the video with Crow. I can definitely understand why a Junkrat main would want to have the flat damage for the reliability, but to me it's like you've picked Junkrat, deal with the unreliability of the Kiro, and that's just sort of how he's going to work. The way you attain reliability is just by zoning correctly, left-clicking better, and sort of developing from there. Streams to watch for good D.Va play? Sure, there's some. Like if I'd say that, you know, if you want to watch a player, Cool Matt, just watch Cool Matt. Watch what Cool Matt does in the Overwatch League coming up. His D.Va has been generally regarded as one of the best in the world. Definitely go and check him out. I don't know if he streams or not, but if he does, try and watch it. I don't know if he like the thing with a lot of pros is they won't play the hero, they play in scrims on ladder, or won't play it a huge amount. So yeah, like, but definitely with Overwatch League, like watch Cool Matt. Emong, yeah. It's just with the Koreans, like I don't know which Korean stream, which don't as well. Isn't Reaper good against all tanks? Yeah. I mean, I've said it before, Reaper just wins pretty much every 1v1. You talked about reloading. I have a bad habit of reloading after every Elim playing Torb. It's become a reflex habit when I play anyone else. Any hints on how to get rid of that habit? Just think about it. Basically. Like, it sounds weird to say, but if you want to lose a habit, you want to kill a habit, just have it in the forefront of your mind when you're playing. And if you do it, just like mentally like go, ah, fuck, what am I doing? Like, it's the way you conquer these bad habits. And like, if you're fighting, you kill someone, you just instantly reload out of habit and you go, shit, why did I do that? A good way of learning how to not do it as well would be playing free-for-all. Because in free-for-all, you'll find that just reloading after every single kill, just mindlessly, will get you killed quite a lot. And you should be able to kill the habit fairly quickly. If you play McCree, like you'll find yourself using the roll purely for reloads. With Reaper as well, I find myself using Wraithform a lot just purely for fast reloads, like fast, safe reloads is what I'll say. Because I know that, you know, you spend like 6 seconds as a spooky fucking ghost, how's that faster? But it's safe, right? You just instantaneously come out of it with full ammo. So yeah. D.Va versus Donald Trump. I think Trump has the best mechs. He's got the greatest mechs. He's the best. He's got the greatest. It's truly inspirational. American-made mechs. Just ignore the made in China on the back of them. Yeah. As for Mercy, we can agree on 1 res, 50% slow, and 5 seconds less. I want to see how these changes go. Like, to me, the thing is, the issue I have with this kind of line of reasoning is like, the reality is happening, right? These are the nerfs that are probably going to go through. I know they've said, oh, we're going to be iterating on these changes and seeing how they go, but when nerfs go onto the PTR, they usually, like, that's pretty much how it's going to come through. It's very rare that you see the nerfs get changed in any way. Blizzard, like, people have even asked Blizzard outright, like, when something goes onto the PTR, are you really looking for feedback? And they are, kind of, but they still, generally, like, that's the thrust they're going. So the thrust that they're going is they want to really nix the res. They're weakening the res pretty dramatically. The res should be seen as a bonus to Mercy, not the core aspect of her kit. So yeah. Like, I would also agree that that would be fine, but honestly, I am very happy to see the instantaneous reses going. I am very, very happy to see those go away. Because I think that they change a lot about how Overwatch works. Previously, before the instantaneous res, the pick was huge. Like, the thing with Overwatch was always that whoever got the first kill in a team fight would usually, I think it's like 80% of the time, win it. So that first blood was absolutely integral and huge. The way that Valkyrie works is it just shifted their value away from that so immensely because you activate Valkyrie and just undo all of that. So then the first blood becomes way less important because, say, like Tracer uses a pulse bomb. If it's not a Mercy, Mercy just Valks reses it, and the value just keeps on going. The enemy team just engages, and then it's icky. And it makes the game slower, it makes the game less fun, it makes a lot of tactics less viable, and I'm just glad to see it go, basically. Do you think any changes are needed for Junkrat's ult? It's a weird one. I always said that Junkrat would be well, not overpowered, but I say that he would be a lot stronger if he had a good ultimate, and now he has a good ultimate. It's like, yeah, he's really fucking good. Charge rate, probably, if anything. Skip me above. Probably ages away. But yeah. I'd say just charge rate would probably be what I would look at, but I want to see what happens with these changes, and then if still causing problems, then you look at it. Junkrat is #1 is bullshit. That's not a question, Abnaxis. Oh wait, here. Reaper on Route 66, high bind the payload pound, anything that comes in contested payload, screw contesting high ground can work well for me, especially if there's a rotor with me. Is this wrong? It's correct, but it'll start working at higher levels. Hopefully it'll start working at higher levels, because what people will do is they'll just play from high ground and just shoot you, and then they'll have like just a D.Va contest, and you try and clear the D.Va out, she just rockets off, something else contests for a second or two, and they just shoot you from long range. It's the right idea, and it's a very effective way of playing Reaper, but this sort of, it leads credence to my theory about Reaper, which is basically Reaper is really, really good, but he's not good because he's overpowered or anything. He's good because people are bad at playing against Reaper. It's that fucking simple. People are bad about beating Reapers, and it annoys the shit out of me, so yeah. How do you loop D.Va bombs? I don't think you can. You just, again, like the way that I've seen pros do it is like just drawing from top down. You'll just generally see them like do a quick S. So they'll just do an S and then they'll launch upwards. And that's usually the better way of just making it work. We've also gone super thick. Mega thick. Ultra thick. There we go. According to me, D.Va Bomb is one of the worst ults in the game. In your opinion, what ults are the worst ults in the game? I wouldn't say... I'd say the Blizzard have done a good job making sure that like a lot of the bad ults have been changed or made better. So in terms of bad ultimates, I'd agree that D.Va ult's up there. I think Doomfist ult is shit. It's just like more than half, like 2/3 of the cast can avoid it reliably, and very, very rarely kills shit. Pre-ult's kind of garbagey. Shadow is garbage these days. Infrasight is so-so. Like, the thing that both D.Va ult and Winston ult do is they let you be more aggressive. Like, these are two divey heroes, so the thing with D.Va ult and Winston ult is, like, the ultimate itself is not what makes the difference. The ultimate facilitates you... in playing in a certain style, in playing in a more reckless way, taking more chances, and not being punished for that. That's what the ultimates let you do. So in that way, they are effective. Where they are ineffective is in getting like a huge amount of kills, and like I'd say Winston is more guilty of this than anything. But Winston Ultimate, you can play that much more aggro, and you'll see that people, if you ever get a chance to listen to pro voice comms, when they're fighting against Winstons, you'll hear them like constantly ask, "Does Monkey have ult? Monkey ult? Monkey ult? Does Monkey have ult?" Because if he doesn't, then he can be focused. If he does, then you focus him and he just ults and jumps off. And you can get a huge amount of value out of the Winston by playing in that way, where you jump in aggressively, create some space, dive follows up or some damage follows up, you can get a kill or two, and then the monkey can't be punished because he ults. D.Va can kind of do the same with D.Va Bomb, where you play more aggressively, then use D.Va Bomb to just cover your way out. So you go in, trade, D.Va Bomb, mechs back, and back out. And you get a single kill for it, which is honestly fine. It's A-okay, like it's more than you're going to get out of a whole hog most times. You might blow up a barrier or something as well. There's a lot of good that can come from D.Va Bomb. So I wouldn't, like... People like lists, and they like sort of rating things and ranking things. I don't see the point of it. Like, I think that could just be me, that could just be, you know, like BuzzFeed lists. I don't give a shit on which is like what is the top 5 ultimates in Overwatch? I'm more interested in the reasoning for that, and it's like, you can make an argument of like, well, D.Va Bomb is shit because most people just avoid it and you never get kills with it, but that's sort of missing out the whole factor of the ultimate. With Doomfist ult, the way that most, like, if you watch Chipsa and you watch how he uses Doomfist ult, it's like 90% of the time it's just as an escape. That's literally how it's used. And it's like, and Doomfist kit is not good enough to warrant that being the use of it, where like McCree's kit is very, very good at getting kills pretty reliably, so having a bit of a shitty ultimate is okay. While with Doomfist, it doesn't quite happen. So yeah. Remember Smackdown in the Doors? Yep. He went off and that's what he did. He went off, watched YouTube videos, learned how to do it, practiced it, brought it to the World Cup. You can stand at the top of the arc, just push the bomb down and walk into it. Hayes has a beautiful clip of that as well. So if you aren't aware, see if I can find this. Wait, it might be too long ago. I know Hayes put it on his Twitter. Well, I didn't actually know you could do this until relatively recently, so maybe a lot of people don't know this. Here it is. Luckily, Hayes doesn't tweet much. So Hayes is one of the coaches for Philadelphia Fusion, I think. So you can nudge it. You can just nudge it ever so slightly forward. Isn't that cool? I think that's pretty cool. Oh, play. So yeah, he just thinks maybe it's a little bit too far back, just nudge it forward. 3 triple kills. I think that's pretty cool. Let's see. Minimum damage is 30, okay. Oh, this is always the nice part with chat, where like they all give me about 5 different numbers. With such certainty as well. That's what I always like. It's the certainty of written text. What should someone who's better at projectile aiming do for DPS? Hanzo's the only one that doesn't take crazy mobility skills. Not Hanzo. If you think you are a good projectile player, Genji Farah. Both of them are way better. Hanzo is trash. Don't. He's just hurting yourself. Mickey streams? Mickey would be good. Mickey proved, yeah, see, this is the issue with a lot of, especially tank players, is they don't play DPS. So for new changes, you can come find him. What do you think of Reaper being able to cancel Wraith form whenever he wants? Overpowered. I think I'm fine with Wraith form just being as it is. I don't think Reaper needs changes, basically. I think it would just be too powerful if he could come out of it instantly. Especially with it reloading, it'll be way too strong to just like... If you imagine fighting a McCree, and then you just shooting, Wraith, he flashes, and you just come out of it straight away and just kill him. Like, that's way too powerful. It'd be too easy to just use it to reactively dodge stuff like rockets and scatter arrows, bombs. Like, it's just too simple. And also, it makes the Reaper vulnerable because he has a predictable exit point, and so you know when he's going to leave it. Finding Mercy meta versus current Mercy meta. Current Mercy meta, I'd say. But I'd still like to see it changed. Thoughts on Bastion? Leave him alone for now. Wait and see what happens with these changes before doing anything. It annoys me that Junkertown has been reduced to Bastion comps, and that's very frustrating. I don't like it. I did a video very publicly about me not liking it. Some people really do like it. Some people really think that, oh, well, it's fine having this place where Bastion shines. My issue with it is it's very low execution. I think that Bastion sort of falls into the slot where, especially as the cast gets bigger, so if I just sort of hide chat for a second, Overwatch already has a decent stock of heroes, right? We're approaching 30 now, as Hero 27 comes up, so we've almost got 30 of these fucking things. Some heroes are going to be better at lower levels than higher levels. Bastion very much epitomizes this. If Bastion becomes standard at high levels, something has kind of gone wrong, because he's very immobile, doesn't take much skill to get a huge amount of value out of, so yeah, that's kind of a problem. Like, as much as people begrudge dive meta really rewarded high skill players. Usually the people who are most vocal against dive meta was support players, because support players felt like it was just hell for them, like they're just constantly targeted. It's like how Ryan kind of feels these days when he has to play tank, and he goes, oh my god, it's just hell playing tank at the moment. That's kind of how it was in dive meta for support players, because everything was just all about running over the supports as fast as possible, so the supports didn't get to do much. But it did take high execution, and usually the higher skill team won. With like a Bastion versus like on Junkertown, if it's just both teams just run the same comps, it's just blur. Yo, do your placements on talent as I need to finish mine on Kairara. Sure. I'm gonna do those afterwards. Why is Shadow bad? Because it misses tons of stuff. It's just unreliable. It tends not to hit much. Standing on the payload negates it. Genji can, like, all the shit it needs to hit. So it used to be that the way that you could beat Dragon Blade was you hold on to Earth Shatter, Genji dashes into the team, and you just fucking Earth Shatter. That stopped working because Genji just double jumps, and he's fine. And so half the time it just doesn't do anything. And you feel stupid because you just turned around and Earth Shattered and you haven't hit shit. Like, it's ridiculous. So getting value out of Earth Shatter is just so fucking difficult now that, yeah, it's just blech. Feel the ults are more about combos? Partially, yeah, but not entirely. Like, some ults just have value on their own. Pulse Bomb, just very high value no matter what. Even Death Blossom, pretty high value no matter what. Barrage is pretty high value no matter what. You can generally get 1 or 2 kills with it, if you're clever with it. Like, a lot of ultimates, Sombra, for example, works pretty well. So, like, combos does factor into it, whether an ult is good or not. But, like, D.Va ult, for example, combos with D.Va ults are often a lot better done with, like, Tracer. You know, Pulse Bomb generally does enough. Chips' channel is growing like crazy. Yeah, I'm glad to see it as well. Like, Chips is a good lad. Who are the next heroes to get a rework? Why the fuck would I know? I don't know. Who would I like to get a rework is a good question. Metro might be up there. Bastion might be up there. These are 2 heroes that have already had pseudo reworks, so it's just, you know, Symmetra's gameplay will never be super interesting the way she is. Bastion is always going to be sort of prey to how weak the turret mode is. I think with Bastion, I'd honestly just like the recon mode to be stronger, and then just develop him from there. Like, Overwatch has steadily pushed to become more and more and more mobile over time, so, like, immobile heroes are just generally falling to the wayside. Hanzo rework number 1. Change this fucker. Change how his kit works, change how he operates. Because he just annoys the shit out of me. Do you think D.Va's selfie highlight intro would have been better to come out before or before the latest change to ult? What you mean, where she takes a selfie and just blows herself to bits and there's just like nothing but a fried skeleton left? How do you rate Fire right now? Any maps you hate being against her? I rate her pretty highly. Good Fires on Hollywood annoy the shit out of me. Dorado's first and second point as well. I'd say she's pretty good. Also on the pro Widow meta, it makes me happy. I like watching Widowmaker play. Mark or Scene, never. Favorite meta? I liked... Oh, gee, what's with the... What the fuck happened here? I don't know why all these kappas popped up, but they did. What is Ryan? What has Ryan caused? I blame Ryan for this one. Honestly, I don't even use Earth Shadow for huge Team CC. Yeah, it's like, it's a bitch. Just on getting better at Forest since I'm a projectile player and also Ryan is responsible. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Oh, there we go. Cap us again, please. For God's sake, Ryan. Jesus. I think we are about done with questions. Valkyrie has a lot of tutorials, although Valkyrie's ability to teach people is always a bit tricky. The biggest tip I would give for anyone for Pharah is just don't change your rules for line of sight. Like, the biggest mistake I see Pharahs make is on the ground. If they're playing Soldier 10 for 6, there's like a wall here and a wall here, they'll quite happily like stay around the walls. And then when they're playing Pharah, and let's say like it's a pillar here and a pillar here, they'll just rocket and just float around the middle here. The big stupid grin on their face going, "Ooh," and then just fucking die. Don't change the rule. Like, stay by cover, stay safe, and just rocket away. Otherwise, yeah, there's plenty of tutorials on YouTube. Done plenty of coaching on it in the past. You can go look at those. Right, thank you for watching to the end. Anyway, thank you for all the questions and comments, and thank you for the video, Swiss Budio. It's appreciated. If you do want to send footage in, send it into oamreviews@gmail.com. Include the hero name and the rank in the title, plus a description and a YouTube link. Do not forget to include a YouTube link. But yeah, if you are a sub as well, you can mention that in the title. And yeah, subs have slightly higher prio. It's just my way of sort of giving back a little bit. Otherwise, thank you for watching to the end of the coaching video. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm about to go and play some more Overwatch. Should be good. I'll see you soon. Otherwise, yeah, come by, watch it live, 10 o'clock GMT, Fridays and Saturdays for Coaching the Many. Otherwise, it's just regular evening Overwatch streams. I'll see you guys next time. Doodles. Boom. Right, YouTube's gone. You coach Overwatch Open Games? No.